I'm Phil Klay, and I am excited to invite you to join me for a class on the 5 things I've learned thinking and writing about citizenship. I served in Iraq in the United States Marine Corps as a public affairs officer, and since I got home, I've been obsessed with 2 things: what that war was that I was a part of, and what exactly is this suddenly strange country that I've returned to. What was I representing when I walked about armed in foreign cities and towns in the midst of a brutal insurgency with an American flag on my shoulder? Since then, I've written short stories and a novel that have been read by government officials and generals and at least one modern president. And I've also written essays and pieces of journalism for the New York Times, the New Yorker, the Atlantic, and so on. Much of that work has been aimed at thinking through citizenship, what it means, what we owe each other, how citizenship works as an ideal, and the sometimes uglier way that it works in practice. So in this class, I'll be discussing what I've learned over the past 15 years doing this work and how to communicate. Some of these lessons will be about the practical nuts and bolts of writing. How do you structure a long form essay so you're not just preaching at the reader, but rather inviting them to join you in a conversation, in thinking through an argument? How do you take a seemingly dry subject like congressional decisions that have changed the way in which we wage war and present them in a narrative that's both emotionally compelling and intellectually rich? I'll expose my own writing process and I'll talk about the decisions that I've made in revisions. Other things will be more about the way that I've chosen to approach the subject. American democracy is, on the one hand, a system with rules for election, separation of powers, large bureaucracies, but it's also an ideal forged in the bloodshed of the American Revolution and the Civil War, and entailing a commitment to words that we hold sacred, like freedom and equality. Anyone writing about citizenship needs to be able to function on both registers without ever losing track of the human narratives at the heart. I'll talk about the resources I draw on from history, not just the way that I do research, but also the approach that I take to the use of history. In any nation, we cobble together our sense of who we are and who we could be from the stories about history that we've inherited. Many times these stories are incomplete or flawed, or in some cases false. But you can also sometimes uncover luminous bits of history peeking through, offering you a way forward. And finally, I'll talk about the hard cases, the ideological opposition, the aspects of American life and history that sometimes we'd rather not think about, and how to approach these things with a kind of searching openness. A commitment to our common citizenship means that we need to make a principle out of dealing with the aspects of our life and history that we sometimes would choose not to look at, and also to understanding and thinking about those public emotions and ideas in our raucous public debate that make us uncomfortable. I'm interested in and engaged in politics, but I'm not interested in the team sport of partisanship. And I'll talk through why that commitment is important to me and how I walk that line in my work. The conversation is going to be a rich one, moving from a contract killing in Tennessee to the grassroots organizations helping process refugees in the wake of the fall of Afghanistan. It is a strange and painful time in American politics, and I do hope that you will join me and challenge me in the Q&A as we think through how to talk about our shared citizenship and how to open up deeper, broader conversations capable of cutting through the noise. Thank you.